So hello Levi, what brings you in today?
I just figured I don't know, I've kind of dealt with some frustration lately and kind of just stuff I felt like I should probably work on.
Alright, for sure, what's been going on?
Well, I've been performing just fine, but the thing is that it takes me a lot more work than I feel like it takes other people than it takes to do things like my job or schooling. And because of that, I just kind of feel like this kind of weird sense of, I guess, incompetence.
Sure. And you're feeling frustrated because it feels like you have to take a lot more effort to make
Yeah.
the same amount of progress that other people make.
Right.
And that must be exhausting.
Yeah, because even when I do a good job and they're like, oh cool, I got an A on this assignment, oh cool, I finished this project and it looks great, I think about how long it took me and how much more effort it took me, and I feel like, oh man, why do I deserve this chance? Why does it take me longer to do this? Why am I even here, you know?
What are some specific projects that you've been struggling with? Anything recently that triggered this, or?
Mainly just, work it adds to my schedule, but it's physical labor, so it's doable. I'm not exactly the strongest guy, pretty weak, but mostly it's just classwork. I mean, I had a project a couple weeks back in one of my classes that I probably stayed in the computer lab a good 7 or 8 hours that day. Well, a couple hours after everyone else had left. And I finished it and turned it in the next morning, but the fact that it took me, some people came back for like a couple hours, but I was the last person to leave in that lab. And I don't know, it just kind of sitting in that lab all by myself, just working on this thing at like 8 at night, just kind of made me like, oh, this is just a depressing image, I guess. I don't know.
Feeling kind of like, oh, I shouldn't be here if everyone else is done. I should
Exactly.
be with it as well.
Exactly. It's the kind of thing where it's like, what level of skill do I have to the point where I'm even here? If I'm even,
Well, I'm sure you must have at least some amount of skill if you're here at the school and you're performing well.
No, absolutely.
And that you have the motivation to get all that stuff done, even though it's taking you so much effort to get
No,
done.
absolutely. I mean, I'm thankful to be here, and I wouldn't change it for the world. But it's just, it can be exhausting, and also it's kind of this weird cycle of work hard, get good grades, and do the good work, but not feel 100% satisfied with myself. Is the kind of thing.
For sure, that must be frustrating.
Yeah.
To kind of feel like you're putting your 100% effort forth and still not getting the result you want.
Yeah.
What other sort of feelings are associated with that? Any thoughts or?
Kind of not really thoughts so much as, kind of thoughts of like, I guess insecurity and like a weird occasional level of like self-loathing.
Self-loathing.
Yeah, like, because you look at yourself, I look at myself and I think like, wow, I'm an actual idiot. It takes me longer to do this I have to study a lot longer than some other people, like we have finals coming up, so I've been studying a lot for that. And just going over the same thing over and over and over again to just get it in my head, because otherwise I can't pull it out in the test.
Right.
And because of that, it just kind of presents like this feeling of, like I said, incompetence, but yeah, just kind of anger at myself for like not feeling I'm good enough, which isn't fair because I shouldn't compare yourself to other people, but
sometimes it's hard not to.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, what if you look at it a different way, from where you look at you have to do so much more work to get the same amount of stuff done, but you still do it, meaning that you have an infinitely higher work ethic than everyone else who's only working like a little bit. Like, since something's not as hard for them to do, they can do it very easily. When it's hard for you to do, you still get it done. And like, so that tells me that you have a lot of perseverance and a really high work ethic, that you're willing to sit through that and really get it done. And to me that shows that you're much stronger than they are. Not necessarily to compare you to them, but you're like, as an individual, you are very strong and you are very competent.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where like I recognize that that's kind of a difficulty of mine, is I have to spend more time studying and working on things. But I fully acknowledge that, and like I said, I take steps to remedy it. I spend longer times in lab, I spend more time studying.
Sure.
So, like I said, at least I'm like taking the steps to do what I need to do to be successful.
And that's what shows to me that really you're not incompetent at all. Maybe you're just taking longer time to do things, but you still get them done.
Yeah.
You mentioned before self-loathing. What other kind of thoughts are connected to that?
It's actually it sounds weird, but I remember, because the first term this school year was pretty rough for me. That was when I probably failed 3 classes and just didn't know what the hell I was doing, and there was just a ton of stuff going on. But I remember after that term, things started to go better. Like next term I started passing my classes, started putting in more work, and started to get a system that was working. And I remember this weird, I recognize it's irrational and weird, but like, at that point, it had been a while since I got a haircut, as weird as that sounds. And so I just figured, okay, I'll grow my hair out, just kind of, because I used to, when I was younger in elementary and middle school, I used to have long hair.
Okay.
And then I started cutting it regularly, just keeping it short, and I'm like, may as well try this, I'm on my own. My dad's like, cut that hair, so may as well just kind of try that. And now that the school year's wrapping up, and I'm working for the summer, I'm almost kind of, as weird as it sounds, I'm kind of scared to cut my hair because
you don't want to look different?
Well, it's not that I don't want to look different, it's just that because I've kind of been figuring out that part of me where like I have longer hair, or I'm just more casual and happy and free-spirited.
Right.
I guess I'm afraid that if I this weird link in my brain where like, part of me believes if I cut my hair, I may lose the part that is putting in all this work and is succeeding. That being said, I do need a haircut, and I plan to do that soon.
And so it sounds like you're kind of like associating your hair with the rest of your personality.
Yeah.
Not as like my hair controls my personality, but it's like an artifact.
Yeah, it's like a byproduct, or like a weird correlation. And if I lose that, then the other thing that's kind of connected to, which is my work ethic, will disappear.
So if you cut your hair, you're not going to be able to go through school anymore.
I mean, that's what part of me feels. Like, obviously, it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
It's stupid, but yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So so your thoughts on cutting your hair now are just like, it's whatever? Or do you still feel like...
No, I mean, there's still, I don't feel as much now as I did earlier, but like, no, I have to get a haircut even for summer and for work, so I'm fine with it, but I don't know, there is kind of that weird older, like slightly older part of me that's like hesitant, but I don't have an issue with it.
Okay. So you mentioned before these thoughts of self-loathing. Have you been having any thoughts of death?
I caught myself basically late one night. I woke up to go use the restroom, and I kind of stared in the mirror for a while, and this was a day after a day where I was late on an assignment, I got an F on a quiz, and I was so mad at myself, I wanted to punch the glass. I didn't, obviously, because it's other people's property, but I just wasn't happy with what I saw, and there was a really bad part of me that wanted to get rid of that.
Right. So that was scary for you, that thought of death and that thought of anger.
Yeah.
How did that impact you in the time at the time it was, and then afterwards? Like thinking about it now, how does that make you feel?
The weird thing is that I thought later, like, maybe later I'll just chalk this up to being up in the middle of the night.
Sure.
After a rough day, but the weird thing is it's kind of persisted. It's just slowly creeping into kind of my daily life now.
Has it been something that's been getting worse recently?
Yeah.
All right. Well, like as you know, suicide is a very serious issue that we're going to have to look at. I'm going to have to ask you to fill out this suicide assessment before we leave today. So that's going to be something that we have to get done, just for your safety.
Right.
Is there anything you'd like to talk about with those thoughts, like what they look like, how persistent they are, how to deal with them?
They're fairly new, but they're kind of growing more persistent.
Okay. So they're just like, it's getting worse, you would say?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so what sort of things have been making these feelings worse or better?
Just kind of I guess I'd say the occasional bad days, which everyone has, but combine that with the fact that I have kind of these frustrating feelings or feelings of self-loathing, kind of make it so that it kind of amplifies each other.
Right. Has it been helpful for you to kind of address those here in this session?
Yeah, it has. I haven't actually talked to a whole lot of people about them, especially the recent thoughts.
The recent thoughts, right? Because that can be scary to open up to someone else.
Yeah, because you don't know how they'll react.
I'd just like to say I appreciate how open you've been about it with me today, because that's very important for us to work on you therapeutically and for you to work on yourself. And like, this is something, it sounds like it's like uncomfortable for you and something that you want to like move past.
Yeah.
And that's very helpful to move past it by talking about it. So what sort of things have you done that went well this week? Like, what are some things that were like your highs for this week?
I've turned in an assignment and I got an A on it on the spot, 100%. So that was great.
Nice.
And in between studying and class and in my spare time, I've been actually kind of applying some knowledge I've learned in my classes into independent things. For example,
Okay.
I'm kind of editing the source code of a game right now, and just kind of adding a bunch of custom stuff. And now I'm even working on, so I've made like custom items for this that I've coded from scratch. And I'm also combining that with like new kind of 3D renderers to include like improve like the visual quality of it.
Okay.
And the skills that I've learned, because I tried this like half a year ago, but it did not go well.
You couldn't, yeah.
But the skills that I've learned since then in my programming classes have really helped with that. So now I'm kind of able to apply that in like personal projects that I enjoy.
Right. So it sounds like you've made some like pretty tangible progress here at school.
Yeah.
And I bet that's encouraging for you.
Yeah.
It's really great that you've been able to use the knowledge you've gained from school to do something that you actually enjoy.
Yeah.
And what that shows to me is that you are really passionate about this major and the classes that you're taking, and that's really cool.
Right.
That's something not a lot of people can say. So, like you stated before, these feelings are getting a little uncomfortable for you. What kind of things do you think you could do to like reduce those feelings, or what are some things that have helped in the past for you?
I guess talking about it here helps. That's the first step. Also, I think kind of remembering that when it comes down to it, everyone's a little broken, I guess, or not good at certain things, or they have flaws about themselves. And no, I don't think. No, let me put it like this: everyone's a little broken. No one's more or less broken than anyone else. They're just broken in their own way.
Sure.
So I take longer to study and I take longer to work on things. But other people, for example, there's some people who are terrible at a project, or some people who have conflicts with their work ethic. And I think that one isn't more or less valid than the other.
Right.
It's just that...
They're valid and different.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone kind of has their own struggles. And that doesn't invalidate yours, of course. I'm just saying that, like, you're not generally most people aren't any worse than any other people. Human beings are complex. And I also think that it's important to focus on the positive. Like, yeah, I took longer took longer for me to study for this test, but I got a B on it. So there's
right.
that.
So you still got the goal you want.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that talking about it here in session helped a lot. Can you think of anyone else that you could talk to? Do you think that would help to just have someone you could talk to, because we only meet once a week.
Yeah.
So to have someone that you could talk to throughout the rest of the week, that would help.
Personally, I'd probably say my parents. I know not everyone has to, and that's it. But like, I've got a really good personal connection with my parents. We get along really well. They're really open-minded and really thoughtful, so I'm able to talk to them about a lot of this stuff. Or maybe like in a private situation where it's appropriate, I'll open it up to like a friend hanging out in a friend's room or something.
Yeah, that seems very appropriate to just like to bring it up with a friend, especially if it's friends that you're seeing more regularly.
Yeah.
Because not only does that strengthen the connection between you and that person, but it also gives you another outlet that you can kind of express how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Since it sounds like from what you've said that you don't usually like to express those kinds of feelings.
Yeah.
Although it's very important to do that. So yeah, finding those people that you're really comfortable with is going to be very important. So what do you think about setting some sort of a safety plan for this week, especially since you've just been having these recent thoughts of hurting yourself?
Probably let the people who I live with or who I see on the most frequent basis know, and have
so they can have
come
an
up
eye
with,
out.
yeah, keep an eye on me, check in with me.
What do you think about?
Maybe talk to my doctor, make sure I'm, on the right like I'm still on my medication.
Right, for sure. And then would you like to incorporate also the idea of talking to people throughout the week? Do you want to have some sort of like a tangible goal of I will have a serious discussion with 2 friends this week? Do you think that would be something
that would help. That would work.
Okay. So I think that's something we can integrate into the safety plan. What else? What are some like? Are there any relaxation techniques you use or anything for when you're like in an elevated state?
I go for walks a lot. Probably every night I go for a walk.
Okay. So do you think that's something we could incorporate into the safety plan too? Is just to make sure that you keep going on those walks?
Yeah, sure.
So that like if you notice that like you missed a night or you didn't go this day, you can look back on it and think, all right, what was going on in my head that day that I really didn't want to go on a walk, or something really bad came up and I couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
And then we could talk about that next week.
Sure.
Is that something you think you could take a log on actually? Just like a log, like these are the activities that I've done today to actively improve my mental health.
Yeah.
Because that would just be very helpful for me to kind of get an idea of like where you're at.
Sure.
All right. It sounds like you're very, very willing to work on your mental health and you're very open about it, which is great. And yeah, this log will definitely help so that we can have more of like a tangible idea of like the progress you're making. And I think that's really amazing that you're willing to work with me on that. I'd like to thank you for coming in today, Levi.
Thanks.